Hey y'all, it's Peepshowbaldwin here. Thanks for tuning in with us. I just came back from watching Red Dawn, and I was kind of blown away. Going into it, I was really worried that it wasn't going to live up to the 1983 version. I've had to have seen that one at least 2 or 3 dozen times, and I was worried that having seen it that many times was going to paint my opinion of the new one. And I'm glad to say that I think the storyline of the new version is able to stand alone. And the writers gave it a complete facelift, and I was wondering, is it possible to channel the late great Patrick Swayze? And no, it's not, which is why I think the writers revamped it. They completely pulled away everything that we as viewers thought we knew about the movie. They changed it up. They really fleshed out with the plot, with the characters. They instituted sibling rivalry between the brothers, and they instituted a lot of romance between the characters, and I feel like they fleshed out equally among the cast, or as much as you can do with such an ensemble cast. And I was worried that it was going to be this bastardized conglomeration of Hollywood's newest and prettiest stars, and to a degree it was, but they pulled it off very well. And it's not supposed to be a comfortable movie. I mean, people are invading the United States, and you have a motley assortment of people that are going to come into the mix. And overall, I think they played it very well. Surprisingly enough, I only have a few things to pick on about the movie. One was that I think they all stayed very clean, maybe a little too clean, being that they're in a war zone and they're living in caves and in the dirt. They never seem to grow facial hair. Chris Hemsworth started the movie with a few days worth of stubble, and he ended the movie with a few days worth of stubble, and then they never seem to change their appearance at all. That's one thing I have to pick on. Another is the truck. The truck that Patrick Swayze drives is about a 1978 Chevy C10 half-ton pickup, and in this one it's about a 88, 89, 90 Dodge Ram, and this thing gets beat. I mean, they drive through fire. They ram deuce-and-a-half troop transports. I mean, this truck, it just gets messed up. But by the middle of the movie, there's a few dents, a few dings, and the fenders are a little crispy, but it doesn't reflect near the damage that it should. And the only other thing I have to pick on before I say good things is that Chris Hemsworth is supposed to play a Marine combat veteran, but yet when the shooting starts, his younger brother, played by Josh Peck, is the first one up and down the stairs, and old Chris is still just sound asleep. That's not a possible thing for a combat veteran to do. I don't care where you were, who you were, what war. You can't sleep through gunfire. As a matter of fact, I've known veterans who were walking down the street, and when a car backfired around the block, they dove under a vehicle and grabbed for a weapon that they didn't have. There are certain instincts that kick in when you are a combat veteran. But there are a lot of good things I can say about the movie, too. It was beautifully shot, beautiful scenery, too, and it was shot somewhere in the Northwest. Oregon, Washington State, I'm not sure, but it's somewhere in the Northwest, and it was pretty country. And for whatever faults that the actors themselves might have had, I think they made up for it, because midway through the movie, they started displaying really good weapon handling skills, which is rare for Hollywood. And when military jargon was used, and it was used sparingly so as not to draw focus away from the plot of the movie, the jargon was correct. And on either side of me there were two gentlemen in the theater who were military, former military, and they all nodded their heads and kind of grunted and agreed with some of the things that were, well, they were very critical of the movie, both positively and negatively. And I think that the cinema purists like myself were sent home happy, because there were a few subtle nods to the 1983 version. When there's one point when they are, the cast are gathered in a cave and they're listening to a radio, this shoddy little radio. They are given a message by fellow patriots in free America, and they say, "The chair's against the wall, the chair's against the wall." And they kept that in the new version, and I was very happy to see that. And I don't know how many other people noticed, but there were a few references to the original, and I think maybe even the interior of a few of the buildings in town were remodeled and resculpted to slightly resemble some of the buildings in the original. But all in all, I'm very happy with the movie, with the way it turned out, and I think it was $9 pretty well spent. Overall, I would feel very comfortable giving this movie an 8 out of 10, and I would probably go see it again.